Welcome, welcome to Critical Dispatch 6, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about Alabama Power. We're going to be talking about what the deal is going on with them. What's the deal, Neil? You know the deal. I don't know the deal. Do you know the deal? We're going to find out the deal. Anyway, now I'm sure you've heard a lot. I'm sure some of you have heard recently of accusations of, say, Alabama Power, like corruption or things like that. Alabama Power being in it for themselves, as we all know, because we all know American corporations are not in it for themselves. Uh, yeah, let join. Yeah, stick around a little while and join us as we go on a journey and explore this world. But yeah, stick around with us as we go on a journey and explore this world. We'll be right back. Welcome,
What's up?
everybody.
What's
We
up?
appreciate
¿Qué
your patience.
pasa?
Yeah, it took me a second to pause. It took me a second to pause the music, but I had intro music running. I am gonna be sharing the link to this broadcast real quick.
Gotcha. So, what's the title say, bro? Alabama
The
Power,
title,
something, something?
yeah, the title I have listed is Alabama Power. What's the deal with them?
Yeah. Well, I think we should start this out with something fun or disturbing, depending on how you view it. Maybe both, right? We do like some good political comedy horror here, don't we? Um, let's see if we can react to on YouTube to Jared Hudson, who's a Senate runoff candidate and a former Navy SEAL, shooting an Alabama power bill. Yeah,
Shooting as
you
in
know, how they
discharging a
like to
firearm
make.
upon it.
Yeah, he shot a power bill. I haven't seen the video. I don't know if you can look it up on YouTube, but he shot a power bill. You know how like they like to virtue signal or vice signal with their guns?
Yeah, I'm looking it up on. That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking it up on. Let me see. It's taking a second to load up on this end. Do you happen to have like a title for that video? Is it like a campaign ad?
So Adam, I'm going to address this in real
Yes.
time, right? So the customer complaints we've gotten have been mostly involved a couple of things, right? First of all, what we're kind of doing right now, which is like over talking, like our technology problems, like tuning our podcast, as it were. And the other one is mostly involves me talking too much or going on tangents and rants. So I know, man, you have opinions on this. I believe in you. So just for like, give it 30 seconds. Speak your mind on Alabama Power.
Honestly, I think that the fact that we have a monopoly, we have a like monopoly corporation in charge of utilities in Alabama, and this is a nationwide thing. Every state has a like monopoly corporation in charge of utilities or power there. California, I think, has PG&E. Ohio has this company called Duke Energy. Let me look up specifics, but yeah, the fact that
right, and I worked a little bit. I
charge,
worked a little bit with this stuff in Connecticut when I was an intern in New Haven. They had like energy assistance programs and stuff. And there was a good state law there. This very needed when you have cold winters like in New Haven, where they said that they couldn't shut your power off during the winter, you know?
I would certainly hope they couldn't, because that is kind of regardless of not paying your bill. I get that. You don't pay. Usually, you don't pay your bill. You have problems, but
Yeah. So where are we on Hudson shooting the power bill?
the best thing that I'm seeing right now is a campaign ad of him.
Yeah, that's what let's watch this POS campaign ad.
Okay. Yeah, that's the closest thing I'm seeing. It's just called My Faith.
Yeah, of course it's a campaign ad. Dude, that's what they do in their campaign ads. Even the women do it. There's I mean, not that I have anything wrong with I have anything against girls with guns, okay? Like let's get that straight. And as far as like Democratic candidates go, I am not running on federal criminalization of assault weapons, if anyone wanted to know. But yeah, let's watch this.
This is Jerry.
My faith in Christ is my foundation, and it guides my life. It's been my calling. I put my life on the line for this country as a Navy SEAL and as a law enforcement officer, and I want to continue serving Alabama in the United States Senate. Career politicians may have dark money and Washington insiders, but I'll always fight for you, the people of Alabama, because that's what I've done my entire life. I'm Jared Hudson, and I approve this message.
Okay, so from what I see, that is the most run-of-the-mill political ad I have ever seen. Like that.
Yeah, for Alabama, I don't know if like in like urban Colorado or if in like where else is competitive for Republicans. Yeah, I don't know if in like upstate New York, right? If they're running ads like with the New York Republicans carrying shotguns or anything, but it's like a definitely a run of the mill Southern Republican thing. It's like, look at my gun. Are you impressed with my gun? And you know, some of these people don't even like guns. They're probably like like sweating, just like holding one in an ad. You know what I mean?
Okay, I
It's
think I
pandering,
found
is what
what you
I'm
were talking
saying.
about. I think I found the precise thing you were talking about.
Oh,
It
awesome.
is. It gets. the pandering gets even worse. It's a video on X, because of course it is, of Jared Hudson saying that I just balled up my Alabama Power bill. Let's add this to the stage and let's take a look. I just put around through my power bill. These ridiculous energy prices are hitting families every single month. I spent my life fighting threats as a Navy SEAL, and now I'm taking aim at the energy failures crushing families across the state. Until we unleash, going to keep paying the price. I'm running for Senate to take that fight to Washington to put money back where it belongs.
Until we unleash. So that's his solution, right? These like more coal, more natural gas, more fossil fuels. Look, buddy, I don't know if you actually care, right? But I have you noticed that like we went to war with a country that we've been sanctioning for decades and our gas prices still went up? It's not sustained. We need to get off our heavy dependence on gas powered cars.
I think he missed it too when he took a shot at it.
Well, I hope not. He's a Navy SEAL.
Okay, no, he didn't miss it. He didn't miss it, but it looked like he missed it when he threw it. But no, yeah, he like that is.
Oh, let's be real. He that's probably not the first take, and that's probably not his actual power bill.
Yeah, probably not, honestly. But yeah, that this has been, for a piece of context that I wanted to add. This is not the first time somebody's done that. This is like there was another Republican figure that he took some machine that he labeled voting machine, and then he did a video of him shooting it, but it wasn't even him shooting it. It just randomly exploded.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so on to Alabama Power. Yeah, I can't speak to every single state, but we have a monopoly, and you're right, and it's a fairly unregulated monopoly because in this state, right, instead of having the government, or particularly the PSC, which is supposed to do this, regulate the power companies, we have the power company regulate the government. Isn't that interesting?
Okay. That's okay.
That's how. Yeah, legal. That's good Alabama values, right?
Trying to see, because apparently.
So let's do the history of Alabama Power, shall we? Let's look that up.
All right. So from what I know, Alabama Power is actually like a arm of a larger company. It goes by the name
Southern Company. Yeah.
So let's
So not only is it a monopoly, it refuses to be regulated and corrupts our government. You know, to be fair, to some extent, both parties, but mainly the Republicans because they're the more pro-business party and they have more power in this state. But they give a bunch of money to the politicians and, you know, do from what I've heard, right, from what I know, they do some intimidation and strong arming behind the scenes, even with the media, so that stuff doesn't get reported on, or that they can just be like, oh, everything's fine, you know, accept the status, you know, like High School Musical note, stick with the status quo. Oh. Sorry, I'm a millennial. Go ahead.
I understand that. So what I have before us now is a history of Alabama Power. This is according to them, so take it with a grain of salt. So at the end, we'll read what they have to say. So at the end of the 19th century, Alabama was in an agricultural state where 90% of the population had no electricity. Houses were lit by candles or kerosene lanterns. Cooking was done over open fires or on wood stoves. But as the 20th century began, few men had dreams of lighting Alabama and transforming the lives of its citizens. when Alabama Power first began, sorry, something else was popping up on my computer, a browser thing that was open. When
You good,
Alabama
brother? Just
Power
roll.
was founded on December 4th, 1906, it was the beginning of more than simply an electric utility company. It marked the beginning of an affordable, reliable electricity that would transform Alabama's economy. So it was founded by William Patrick Lay, James Mitchell, Thomas Martin. So
Uh-huh.
it was. So honestly, the bio here is pretty cookie cutter. Let's
Yeah, but
expand.
yeah, what I heard um was that it was originally a a state corporation, and then it got privatized and sold to Southern Company. Let's see if we can find info on that.
Which again, that's fine. The fact that utilities are privately controlled.
Oh yeah, no,
Let's
why have your utility monopoly in the hands of the people when you can just sell it to an out-of-state corporation that only that's designed to benefit investors you don't know.
let's expand a little further because um, let's expand into utility monopolies as we know them, because that is the bigger thing here. So according to PBS, I know, fake news, terrible. The early electric, which this is typically numerous power plants. So the early electrical grid was built over like short range. The paradigm began to change as technology rapidly transformed the industry. Newer machines, such as steam turbines, were smaller and less complex and could create a greater amount of power with. So the key turning point was smaller machines being able to have larger currents. By 1907, Insull had acquired 20 other utility companies and renamed his firm Commonwealth Edison. Insull? Who's Insull?
More like incel.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. This is a little too broad, actually.
Yeah, no, and I looked up the thing I mentioned, so strike that from the record. I can't see any evidence that it was Alabama Power has roots as a state-owned corporation. That would be interesting if it was, but it doesn't appear to be the case. The at least the AI summary says the opposite.
Well, that's good that we correct ourselves. I
Yeah,
have. Let me fix this real quick because this is on the wrong tab.
yeah. So
I
by the way,
will.
let me just take a moment while he's doing that to talk about the campaign. Is there a website? Where is the website? We're working on it. We basically got everything set up to run, but we just got to launch it. We're having some technical difficulties. I am running on ending the Alabama power monopoly, so maybe, maybe that's some ops going on there. Who knows? Maybe that's why the Over the Mountain Journal hung up on me after I said my name.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
I, it's okay, Over the Mountain Journal. I still love you. I love all my local papers.
That is weird.
What is?
My screen is showing. Okay, there we go. I wasn't able to access my layout buttons for this broadcast, but now I am.
It's okay.
So
It's okay.
there we are. So let's take a look at the history of Southern Company as a whole. So it started with a visionary name, of course. Southern Company calls him a visionary, named James Mitchell. He was an engineer, he was an entrepreneur, and a global thinker. I use a global.
Oh, Jimmy M. Always thinking of the world.
So it started with hydroelectric power. It started with the potential for hydroelectric power, which Mitchell envisioned. This aged well. With seeing the hydroelectric potential of Alabama's rivers, Mitchell envisioned a future of clean, reliable electricity which could fuel economic growth and uplift communities across the Southeast. That aged well.
Yeah.
Driven by
it didn't. You're right, because the thing is, everything is contextual, right? It is true, probably, that at the time, the best thing you could do was have a private company come up and provide people in these rural states like Alabama with power who didn't have it before, right? And it just happened to be a private monopoly that decades later has way too much power and raises prices way too much and is way too slow and reluctant when it comes to getting off of fossil fuels and onto cleaner energy sources.
Despite
You know?
claiming to be cleaner energy.
Yeah, exactly. They dabble in everything, but it's just like the future. We need to these big self-interested companies are not going to be our saviors when it comes to that. We do need heavy government intervention and working class activism to push us into the future, because if we're waiting around on the free market and the invisible hand, and these like what is it called, it's the self-interest, right? The radical self-interest of people to save us from climate change and pollution and water pollution and all this stuff, it's just not going to happen, right? They're more concerned with like making slightly more profit than what's going to happen to the rest of us on our coastlines and in our drinking water and everything else. They can shield themselves from it. They're rich. They can shield themselves from it for as long as possible. It's nothing to them, you know?
Yeah, I get that. One thing that I'm gonna look up to provide in a second is precisely why utility companies like this one have become monopolies, which, from what I can see, actually is a pretty fair reasoning in theory. But yeah, we'll finish up talking about Southern Company real quick. That is the wrong tab. So now Southern Company is a Fortune 500. Fortune 500 pretty much means they're one of the big fishies in the pond.
Yeah,
Serving,
I think it's mostly a measurement of the stock market, right?
let's look up a precise definition real quick, and we'll just provide like a quick rundown of what that is. Because a Fortune 500 is a prestigious ranking. So yeah, it is. Yeah, Fortune 500, they're up there. Yeah.
Yep.
So one thing that I wanted to know was why utility companies are monopolies, which
It's a good question.
From what I could gather, that's not an entirely accurate statement, because it doesn't always apply, but it does apply quite a bit. And B, the reasoning for it is actually kind of, when you think about it, kind of efficient, because it The primary reason that I could find is the same reason that part of me thought we should have a government-controlled utility company, and that's the fact that, well, utility companies are a lot easier to manage, and utilities are a lot easier to keep track of when it's all under one banner.
Right. The problem is that here in Alabama, we depend on an entity to regulate them that doesn't function. Right.
Yeah,
And that's called, say it with me, everyone, this Public Service Commission, which ironically, it only seems to exist so the members can serve themselves and their donors and friends. We talked about this a little bit with Robin Littaker.
To be fair, Jacob, they are the public. To be fair.
Oh yeah, all what is it? 8 of them now?
Yeah, they are the public. Sorry, one of my cats wanted to interject. He had something to say. So I know, buddy. It's my cat Sherman. He was wanting attention.
One of the things we're working on with the campaign is a graphic about how I want to end the monopoly, which is with what I'm going to call the Cahaba River Corporation, which would be a government-owned utility. It would be a government-owned corporation.
That's kind. Say that, folks. He believes in communism. He supports communism. Yeah. All right. So when consumers get their utility bills every month, it's not always clear why energy costs as much as it does, and that's usually because depending on circumstances, I can't English good right now. Your utility company might be the only choice for that utility. In the event of Alabama Power, to my knowledge, we have that issue. We have Alabama Power as the only choice for power. Since the pandemic, prices have risen quickly and stayed high. On average, $1 buys as much as 80 cents did in 2020. That's a little bit worrying.
Yeah.
The key, like we had just mentioned, when this article's kind of redundant with it, when customers dislike the price of, say, groceries or a streaming service, they can shop around for a better option. I have 2 grocery stores in my area, one called Pick and Save, one called Lucky's. If I don't like something Pick and Save sells, I can go buy something from Lucky's or vice versa. But the problem is, with Alabama Power, it would be like if both grocery stores in the area were both Lucky's, or they were both Pick and Save. Like, they would be my only choices for the power in the area. Sorry,
it's like if you rolled up into town, you're like, okay, where can I go grocery shopping? It's like, well, your choices are Walmart Neighborhood Market, Sam's Club, and Walmart Neighborhood Market.
See, the joke is there. Walmart and Sam's Club are owned by the same people.
Yep.
For a long time, in 1882, Thomas Edison built the first electric power plant, which he probably didn't invent. Look it up. Edison was
fake news. It was Nikola Tesla.
Yeah,
which is ironic that the guy who this is a different tangent we've had on the show about him, but it's ironic that the guy who named his company after Tesla is the one who likes to steal ideas in the modern day. But yeah, I digress.
He didn't even own Tesla. He just bought it.
Yeah.
Which that's a story for another day. Elon Musk bought a lot. Now, there are a few companies that he was there for from day one. I'll concede that. PayPal is one of them. But a lot of the companies that he owns, he just injected himself into. It's weird. But yeah, for a long time, the power plant that Thomas Edison built worked. From the turn of the century until World War II, Americans consumed more and more electricity, and due to technological advances, utilities could provide it at relatively reasonable prices. There are also bounce to paragraph. The economies of scale in the utility industry enabled companies to produce cheaper and cheaper electricity to charge lower and lower rates that would not occur in a competitive system. Okay, so okay, I see how it is. It's always the profit motive. There are also mechanical reasons it's easier for just one company to make or deliver electricity to a town, power lines, which to be fair, when you have things like storms causing outages in multiple regions, which happened recently with me, what felt like a brisk amount of wind.
Adam, let me say, it happened with you. It also happened with everyone else in the area. It happens at certain retail locations like multiple times in the same month. It feels like it happens a lot. Like the power outages. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's almost like our aging infrastructure is a problem and we need to upgrade it. But
yeah, but I wonder if we can, because this is a lot. Honestly, this article seems like a lot of like some of the technical stuff is interesting, but a lot of it is also like intuitive, like Econ 101 stuff. I just had an interesting thought because I don't know the answer to this. I know our electricity bills are higher. How do we stack up compared to other similar states in terms of like similar states in terms of population and everything, in terms of like power outages and stuff? I wonder if we can look up that data.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's find out. I have a bunch of reminder alarms that are all deciding to go off on my phone at once. Yeah, let's find out. Let me stop sharing that.
Now I'm just remembering from like BoJack Horseman, the TV show, Hollywood celebrities. Do they know? What do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
Do they know things? Do they not? Are they a bunch of brainless bimbos and himbos? Let's find out. On today's episode of Who is a Bigger Nutcase?
I am going to. I don't know if this will become a scandal, by the way, but I am going to make sure that any campaign staff I hire watches BoJack Horseman, all of it. That's going to be part of the training.
Wow, bias, campaign hiring bias. See this, folks? Which state?
Look, it's the most leftist. It's the most leftist cartoon, I promise. Aside from One Piece, it's the most leftist cartoon.
So, which state has worse? One Piece is about pirates, so I would certainly hope it's leftist. Which state? Which is the worst state? Google autocomplete. Which is the worst state? So I am looking up which state has the worst power outages, and I would assume that it's probably Wyoming. It's probably Wyoming.
Because they're super rural.
Yeah, there's less than 1 million people in Wyoming in the total state.
Right.
Meanwhile, there's like bordering 5 million people here. So according to the Oracle of Google, not the worst, but among the worst was Louisiana. Which actually no. It's yeah, no, I was right. Not the worst, but among the worst. Let's see.
Who else?
We can. I was just reading off of a AI overview at the moment.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with those.
Yeah, I'm confirming it right now.
Especially when it comes to people's personal like information about specific individuals, but even with like institutions and states, you got to be careful with it.
It's sorry, given their circumstances, I believe what the like I said, I'm looking up to verify what it's saying, but the biggest name that I'm seeing is actually California, which given
Oh,
which say what I mean, California is terrible. California
yeah.
is
But that would have the opposite problem from Wyoming, is that their population is just so big. You know what I mean? In it's such a not only it's a such a geologically diverse state, and it has earthquakes sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
but but that is an interesting question, right? We shouldn't just dismiss it because of political bias, one way or the other, right? It's if Louisiana is worse, why is that? If California is worse, why is that? You know what I mean?
according to usoutage.com, the current state with the most reported outages is it's a real-time information. It's a real-time info source. The one in the lead is Texas. Now
Gotcha. That would be similar to California in some ways.
yeah, because Texas is if it's like a couple thousand people, 12,478 people right now.
Yeah.
Which, if it's that many people, I bet Ted Cruz is probably in Cancun right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think he did that during was it a power outage or just a snowstorm? I think it was a snowstorm.
Yeah, it was a snowstorm. For those
Yeah.
that don't get that, Ted Cruz during a major snowstorm in Texas, somebody bearing a striking resemblance to Ted Cruz was spotted at an airport.
Oh, we know it was Ted Cruz. There's no dispute it was Ted Cruz.
Okay, so as of 2021, I have this browser open that I'm trying to close, but it's taking a second. As of 2021, Delaware has the most reliable power grid, which I'm honestly
Damn
not
it,
surprised.
Biden. Because that's sorry. I'm just joking. Look,
It's Biden's
establishment ADP. I can show you my Biden hat. Please don't murder me.
So, so let's see who is the runners up. Power grid reliability. Let's see. Delaware is
By the way, just in case you thought I was kidding, Adam. This was made by a sweet old lady who used to, or maybe still does, come to Hoover Democrats meetings, and she's from a different county, but there's not like an active Democrats group in her county.
well, it honestly is well made from what I saw.
Preach.
So yeah, Delaware for explanation, Delaware is rather small, so the fact that it has the least power outages kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and also, Adam, is this data per capita, or is this just raw numbers?
From what I can see, for this is Discover. It is worth briefly noting that this seems like this is just like raw numbers.
So that would explain everything then, because California has the highest population, so it would make sense that it would have the highest power outages. Or did you say California or Texas had the highest?
It was apparently California, but
Gotcha.
remember,
So if this is just based on raw numbers, then that really doesn't tell us much. But considering it's 11:40, I want to move on to a couple different subjects. One very specific. So did you hear about this rate increase that they're implementing and advertising about? Well, not rate increase. Sorry, they certainly wouldn't advertise it if it was a rate increase. That would take some nerve
Hey
and wouldn't
guys,
really
give
make
us more
sense.
money.
But it was a rate freeze. Did you hear about this rate freeze?
I did not, honestly.
Yeah. So look up. I haven't read any articles, honestly, about what the rate. I've seen advertisements, I've seen people talking about it, but I haven't read the details yet. So we're going to find out in real time what the deal is with this rate freeze, this Alabama Power rate freeze.
Alabama Power rate freeze 2026. Let's see. We'll look up. Now this is going to be on their website, so I'd take this with a bit of a grain of salt. But
Well, we've already read their website then, so let's do another source, dude.
that's fair.
Or if I can get to it how about this? I'll be helpful. If I can get to a better source faster, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. I'm seeing. I'm seeing something that seems better. Alabama governor signs bill to freeze electric rates. Let's take us a look. See.
Most of what I'm seeing goes back to like April or December. So it's not helpful because this is something I started hearing about recently.
Yeah, the most recent thing I'm seeing is a article from April saying that Kay Ivey was going to freeze electric rates, or signing a bill to.
Okay, well, this Alabama Power, yeah, we should have just stuck with this because this actually is a good explainer. And keep in mind, there's only so much they can lie about to our faces, you know?
So we'll take a look at, are rates going up? Let me
Cute kid.
mute this because I think a video might have tried to play. I was just trying to mute it real quick. Customer rates are frozen through 2027. Bills can still change with usage. Here's what affects. Customer rates are frozen through 2027 under Alabama Public Service Commission framework. Alabama Power's retail rate is around the national average, with more than 200 Southeast utilities charging higher rates, according to federal EIA data. So what they're saying is that higher heat yields higher power costs, which
So it's basically it's your fault, is what they're saying.
yeah, it's have you considered not
Have you
being
considered
hot?
not using your electricity?
Yeah, let's fact check that. State with the cheapest power.
I wonder how much. Here's a question. I wonder how much, in theory, Alabama Power could decrease. And don't look this up. I'm just posing this rhetorically, right? I wonder how much Alabama Power could decrease their rates across the board and still make a profit.
I'm
Because
just
they're a Fortune 500 or 400 company, right?
which again means Fortune 500 means they're doing very, very well. Like,
Yeah, but which part of it are we fact checking?
I am fact checking the power rate claim because they said that the U.S. average in 2020, in 2024 was 12.79 cents per kilowatt hour compared to the US average of 12.94 cents, which looking at 2026 data wouldn't work for 2024. More than national average. Let's see what the U.S. Energy Information Administration has to say.
Oh yeah, we do have one of the highest electricity bills in the nation. Alabama does. I haven't seen much dispute about that. The dispute is just about, mostly that I've seen, at least in Montgomery, is about what the solution is, right? Because at one point they tried to sell us this bill of goods that if we had the Public Service Commission regulators entirely appointed, that our electricity bills would go down.
Which
And
that's
yeah, and on in other news, did you know that the sky is green? Actually,
yeah, I was about to say
did you know that less accountability over your government is a and more centralization of power is a good thing?
Yeah, I was about to say that's not how any of that works. Let's see. This isn't going to give us much of the kilowatt hour. Well, it is going to give us kilowatt hour averages, but it's not going to give us the national average. Or is it? It is. Okay. So the average is going to be around the national average. National average for residential for as of March 2026 is 18.56 per 18 cents, 18.5 cents per kilowatt hour, which, if my information serves me correctly, is actually something that they're not lying about for once. But I am verifying that now too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking so much for what they're lying about, right? I would be looking more for what they're not saying. You know what I'm saying? But 1147. What do you know about the Tennessee Valley Authority?
Honestly, the fact that it's an organization called the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Okay. Well, then this is a good chance for you and perhaps some other people who are watching to learn.
I'm going to go ahead and kill that screen then. And bust open some. That should be. That is weird. Why has okay. My mic went dark there for a second.
It's okay. It's okay. My Over the Mountain Journal. Dude hung up on me as soon as I said my name. Still gonna read it though. It's free from me.
Over the Mountain Journal, sponsor us. Do it now. Do it or we will say terrible things about you. So the Tennessee Valley Authority. I gotta close a couple tabs before I can give us some information about it.
Yeah. Roosevelt to the New Dealers, to the anti-New Dealers. Respect my authority.
That's what he said. That's what he said to the anti-New Dealers. He made that. He just asserted his dominance, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, Cartman style.
Okay, so the Tennessee Valley Authority is a let's take a look at their website. This whole time I've been stopping and starting sharing screens. Yeah, this whole time I've been stopping and starting screen sharing.
It's okay.
I don't know why this mic keeps
It's
going.
it's okay, dude.
But there is a thing that says share screen on this tab instead, which I could have been doing this whole time. So, the TVA history. We shall start at the beginning of the story. So, the TVA was an act signed in 1933, which created a public corporation to improve the navigability and provide for the flood control of the Tennessee River, to provide for reforestation and the proper use of marginal lands in the Tennessee Valley, to provide for agricultural and industrial development of said valley, and for other purposes, which we will read more about the act in a second. So TVA's original purpose was to I keep thinking of, because now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe there's an organization called the Time Variance Authority, which goes by the name TVA. I keep thinking of them. The TVA's original 1933 purpose was to address the valley's most important issues in energy, environmental stewardship, and economic development, which it started in the 30s when the country was reeling from the Great Depression, which is my autobiography title, The Great Depression. President Roosevelt created his New Deal to help America recover, which the New Deal, Jacob, isn't the New Deal the reason we have things
Yes, the New Deal was a big package of reforms by the Franklin Delano Roosevelt administration, such as Social Security, such as unemployment insurance, the NLRB, the minimum wage, overtime laws, all of these great economic things that have withstood the test of time, and that most people don't actively want to get rid of. And did it immediately solve the Great Depression? No. Did it hurt? No. Did it? Has it continued to help a lot of working people and middle class people, and give our economy some security from like the instability of extreme poverty and everything? Yes. Who here wants to give up their Social Security or get rid of their grandparents' Social Security? Tuberville does. Gary Palmer, who I'm hoping to face in November, wants to privatize it, which it gets its after, because Republicans have been backdooring these attacks on Social Security, such as tax holidays, where they say, hey, everyone, we're going to give you a tax holiday so you pay less Social Security tax. Well, we pay the Social Security tax, so the Social Security will be there. But we got 8 minutes left. We're here to talk about the Tennessee Valley Authority. Go ahead, Adam.
By the way, just a quick little addition. I realize this would be... I realize what I'm going to do is just keep this up as we get closer and closer to the election. I put back up a QR code regarding voter information. I know it's a little early for that, but I'm going to just keep that. Get closer. So against the backdrop of World War II, the Tennessee Valley Authority launched one of the largest hydropower construction programs ever undertaken in the United States, which we'll elaborate on that either in a second or on another episode, whichever one time allows for. The TVA became self-financing in 1959. The TVA began building nuclear plants in the 1960s.
Yeah. So, which to be clear, my stance on nuclear energy, which I would apply to my alternative to the Alabama power monopoly, is that I don't want to build new nuclear facilities, but I want to utilize existing nuclear energy because it is carbon neutral, right? It's not safe, it's not green. Um, I think the environmentalists who are against it are remain correct. It's nuclear, building nuclear bad, but using existing nuclear good because it's harder to shut them down after they're already operating. Does that track with you, Adam?
Yeah, I was about to say Chernobyl.
Right.
So one thing I wanted to know was what exactly the TVA powers, which I know they're a big power organization in the Tennessee Valley, but
Well, but do you know where that includes in relation to us, Adam?
I don't exactly. I would
So
assume
you'll notice that our friend Adam McKellar, right? He's on a podcast called the Valley Labor Report. That's the Tennessee Valley up in Huntsville. So this is the area of North Huntsville, right? And it was FDR's New Deal program, and it did hurt some people, but overall it helped a lot of people, right? It helped modernize things. It helped farmers and working class folks in northern Alabama. So the north part of the state of Alabama was more liberal and more loyal to the National Democratic Party than the rest of the state, going like very, very late because of how much FDR's New Deal did for North Alabama.
from what
And
I'm
it just goes to show, if you actually give people like tangible benefits that they can't ignore or that can't be like hand waved away, they'll stick with you, you know.
from what I'm seeing for specific details, the Tennessee Valley covers part of and I know this will be a shocker here, but a large portion of it is in Tennessee. It covers a portion
Yeah,
of North Alabama, a portion of Georgia, and it's mostly Tennessee, which
yeah.
I will include a picture of a map in the description of this video so you can see for yourself.
Geography.
It
We're
is
doing all the subjects, kids.
so if you the best thing I can think of is if you've seen, as I am an intellectual, I'm a super intellectual. I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty. And if you've ever seen that one episode where Morty drives a tank through quote unquote Power Plant Valley, that's the best imagery I can give you for in terms of the TVA. It's a big power organization in the Tennessee Valley.
Right. And it still operates as a public company today. And my understanding is that they have, because it does, the profits don't just go back to investors, right? Because they're motivated by and fund the service itself. That they have lower power rates and they have better service. And obviously, hydro and all that is much cleaner than uh, uh, like nuclear and, well, hydro is not perfect. It does like endanger like fish and stuff. But point is, it's much better than Alabama Power, in my opinion. And if we at least had a similar organization like that, right? Like you're working on the graphic for the Cahaba River Corporation, which I think is a great name, not because it's alliterative, but like similar to the Tennessee Valley Authority. It gives us a sense of like ownership over it, right? A sense of like connecting it to our local identity, you know. Um,
One thing I still can't get over about nuclear power is the fact that, technically speaking, we all have access to to an extraordinarily high-powered nuclear fusion reactor. And if you want to know where that fusion reactor is, go outside and look up.
or don't, because any what's the word for eye doctors? what is it,
Optometrist.
ophthalmologist? Any ophthalmologist will tell you that can lead to severe damage.
Yeah, the big glowing ball of fire that go across sky. That
Yes.
sun.
Yes, where Prince Zuko gets his power from, or where the dragons got their power from. That and Prince Zuko's ancestors got their powers from the. Look, Avatar: The Last Airbender is also very leftist. I need my volunteers to watch that one.
There we go again. There we go again with the biases. There we go again. All right, so we have run a little bit over. Jacob, is there anything that
I disagree. My clock says 11:59, but I think we're like right on time.
Oh, okay.
But I don't
Jacob,
mean to be nitpicky and argumentative. But what were you gonna say?
I was going to see if there was anything else you wanted to add on to this discussion, because that seems like we've about or one thing we
Yeah, just a reminder
is why.
Well, just a reminder, whether you're leaning more towards Jared Hudson or Barry Moore, or you're voting in the Democratic primary and you're choosing between friend of the show Dakari Lariat and Everett West, go vote on June 16 in the midterms. Not midterms. The midterms, but go vote in the runoffs, June 16.
If you don't have a way to get there, we can help you find one.
Oh yeah, we
Jake?
can. Yeah, I can hook you up, and if need be, if you live around rural Jefferson, I'm gonna prioritize northern rural Shelby. I'm gonna prioritize Homewood and Richard Harrington Jr. Boulevard, because that's the area I live in. I'm gonna prioritize. But if you live in one of those areas, generally, I am willing to drive you to the polls if need be. But hit me up, 205-383-8149, Jacob Bauma-Sims. This has been a Critical Dispatch.
I'm going to put that number up and leave that up for a second. But yeah, Jacob, if you're busy, I won't need you to stick around. I'm going to just have that number up for just a sec.
Not in a rush, but it's been good, man.
All right. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Again, this has been Critical Dispatch 6. Jacob Bauma. Let me fix that real quick. Thanks for joining us. Again, this has been Critical Dispatch 6. Today we spoke to you about Alabama Power, their history, what's the deal with them, whether or not they are truthful in what they say. From what I can see, they are relatively truthful in terms of things like energy rates. But yeah, thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day.